Let's look back at what we've already said tonight. We tried to show first of all that Jesus was a good man. His teaching is about honesty and integrity. He was seen to be somebody who didn't just talk about goodness, but lived it out himself. He had an unusual creative mind, but he used it to benefit other people and influence them so that they too lived better lives as a result. But second, we saw that he claimed to be a king, the Messiah, the promised ruler of his people, God in human form. And that kind of claim should have been enough to get him locked up. How arrogant can you be? What makes a simple northern Jewish peasant with no education to speak of convinced that he is the most important person to be born on earth since the dawn of time? There are really only three answers, I suppose, unless Jesus was totally misunderstood by his hearers, and there's not much likelihood of that. First, it's possible that he was stark raving mad. Second, he was obviously a charming and plausible talker, so it's possible that he was a confidence trickster who saw a golden opportunity of making money and achieving stardom by making big claims. Or third, perhaps he was telling the truth. Let's look at the first of these claims. Was Jesus mad? That's pretty unlikely. The teachings he gave recorded in the Gospels are not wild, rambling discourses that don't make sense. There's a clear logic behind them, and an endearing humanity about them that tells us he was a man who understood people and connected with them very easily. Now, the Jews of Jesus' day hated madness. They believed that if you showed signs of madness, you had been cursed by God, and everybody else had to get away from you pretty quick. You were expelled from your community and would have no friends. Jesus' followers spent 3 years with him, living at pretty close quarters, often with no place to stay overnight, frequently harassed by curious crowds and clever lawyers trying to trip Jesus up. Yet he never lost his cool. He never flipped. If he had shown the slightest sign of insanity, his disciples would have left him immediately. But he didn't, and none of his enemies ever tried to claim seriously that Jesus was mad either. He clearly wasn't. Okay then, was he bad? Could he have been like some of today's cult leaders, playing the religious card in order to make themselves rich, popular and powerful? Again, that seems most unlikely. For one thing, as we've seen, he kept up his claim to be the Son of God right through to the end, when it was clear that he was going to be crucified if he didn't back down. If he had just been a fake and a fortune hunter, he'd have backed down. He'd have sold his story to the Sunday papers. Yet Jesus went stubbornly to his death, still maintaining his story. What's more, if he wanted to win followers in that culture, he'd chosen completely the wrong story. The Jews believed more devoutly than any other nation on earth that there was one God, only one. To say otherwise was blasphemy. And for Jesus to claim, yes, there is one God, but I'm his son and equal, wasn't the best way to win friends and influence people. If he had been a con man, Jesus would have gone for a less challenging cover story. In any case, when you look at the depth and profundity of his teaching about truth and honesty, could the man behind it have been just a cynical opportunist who didn't believe a word of all he taught? It seems absolutely ludicrous.